Hello, everyone, and welcome to Wisdom Seeker Live podcast. Glad to have everyone with us today. Really hope that you will engage today and share your thoughts. Uh, I will just a note that we will have an abbreviated session today. We won't be going the full hour. And I wanted to do an open mic. We had not done one in a while. And so I thought this would be a good time. And hope you will engage. Let us know where you're joining from. And I thought it was very interesting when I put this out yesterday, the number of topics suggested. Welcome, Rick. Welcome, Panda. Do remind you to let us know where you're joining from. And also feel free to comment and let us know what your thoughts are, your questions are. And as always, I like to share how we view wisdom. And wisdom for us is for a journey. And there's three parts to the journey. One and first step is to gain knowledge, and that's the beginning. And we can get that wherever we try, and even sometimes when we don't try. And then the second step of the process is gaining understanding, which comes from experience and using what we know. It is a step beyond and beyond just knowledge, which I know some people like to say knowledge is power. And what I suggest to people is knowledge is the beginning. Doing something with the knowledge is where the real power is. And let's see here. Welcome to Dr. Jesmond and Bernhard, Atif. Welcome. Glad to have you all here today. And let's see. Rick, I think I recognized you, but just in case, thanks for being here. And the last step in this journey is about going from knowledge and understanding to wisdom. And the key difference with wisdom is that it is seeing things from a much bigger perspective and outside of ourselves. And I just wanted to make sure everyone hear me okay. I am operating a little differently this morning than I normally would. And so let me know if you can't hear me. I'm using a different mic and camera. So anyway, wisdom is seeing our knowledge and our understanding and the world around us outside of ourselves, much bigger picture. And for those of us that are of a spiritual bent, the way we like to put it is that we are seeing things through God's eyes. And it just gives us a whole different perspective. And Dr. Jesmond, I see, let me share this with our audience because I know many of our audience are people that pray. So Dr. Jesmond says that she lost her elder sister and needs our prayers. So you can definitely count on that. Excuse me, because I believe that many of you here believe very much in the power of prayer. And so I just pray and ask for God's comfort and for you and your family. I'm so sorry for the loss. And let's see. Atif, glad to have you from Pakistan. That's great to see. And Bernhard from Spain. And of course, Rick from the U.S. and the fine state of Kentucky. So thank you. Bernhard shares a comment: knowledge and understanding experience. Action leads to wisdom and compassion. Definitely, wisdom requires action at times, no doubt about it. And I just think it interesting. Again, from those of you that have noticed my post from yesterday, I actually was talking and asking about what people wanted to gain wisdom about. also did a poll. And let's see, I'm going to run down the list, and then I'm going to get y'all's input into which topic we tackle first. Someone said that they were interested in wisdom about real astrology. And let's see here. Another one wants to gain wisdom about God and the ways of God. And let's see here. Someone asked to wisdom about finding a way not to laugh at bad jokes. And we had another one suggest talking about true relationship and dependence between purpose and meaning in life. Someone suggested engineering. Let's see here. Another one of the respondents said, explain why there aren't more mentors and folks willing to share valuable info in order to help others succeed and gain wealth. And how can we get a mentor, not a coach? Let's see. Go through and just look. Relationships, another one that came up. So just some topics that people are interested in finding wisdom on. I am glad that we've got people that are interested in finding wisdom. That is a good start regardless. Ahmed, glad to have you. Denise, glad to have you. Ahmed's from Pakistan and Denise is from the U.S. in Houston. And good morning, Aaron. Glad to have you. So what are some of the topics that you all want to bring up and let's talk about, since this is an open mic day? By the way, I think Senna's with us. I hope so anyway. So what do you think? What would you guys like to talk about and see if we can gain some wisdom on among our audience? Okay, Aaron offered, the person on the post asked about finding a mentor, offered a source there. Thank you, Aaron. Appreciate that. Okay. In the absence of any, until someone comes up with a topic that you guys want to talk about, one that came up that was kind of interesting is we continue to talk about LinkedIn as being a business platform, and that somehow maybe that is a challenge. Oh, wait a minute. Hello, Colonel Tiagvir. Glad to have you with us. Okay, Rick has thrown out the first topic rather than me pursuing what I was headed for. So Rick wants to talk about faith. That's a tough subject. And good morning, Zaid. So faith. Generically, faith is believing in something enough that it affects what we do. Okay, it's more than just understanding something and agreeing with it. It's more than just having an experience or an understanding. It is about believing in something to enough that we become dependent on that and we make decisions based on it. And for myself, my faith is the Christian faith, and my faith is in the redemption through God's grace. And one of the acronyms that has always meant a lot to me about faith is forsaking all, I take him. And that's always helped me to consider faith. And the challenge with faith is there is no how-to book once you've gained faith, how to use it. And it is indeed a struggle, as Rick has mentioned, because at times, depending on our perspective, we will tend to think of faith in certain ways. And there are the extremes of people that say they have no faith and believe in nothing but what they can see and touch and do. The other extreme is that there are people that take faith to a point of doing some interesting things, including handling snakes, because they think that proves that they have faith. And so it's an interesting topic. Let's see. Let's share a comment from Erin. She shares actually a scripture verse. What good is it, my brothers, if a man claims to have faith but has no deeds? Can such faith save him? Definitely. And of course, Bernhard shared, says in the U.S. Marines, we have the motto Semper Fidelis, which is always faithful, right? And definitely comment from Bernhard, faith is also an attitude towards our lives and the outcome of things. Indeed. Hello, Eunice. Glad to have you aboard this morning. And faith, for me, I've gotten to a point in my faith that I am so dependent on my faith in all aspects of my life that if it proved not to be true, that my life is going to be changed radically even in some regards, even negatively. And so, again, faith is an interesting topic. And those that say that they have no faith, I challenge that a bit, because I contend that as we live each day, you depend on faith all the time. Practical examples are that most of us have no clue how electricity works, but we have faith when we push a button, turn on a light switch, whatever, that some electricity is going to do work for us. And so when we drive a vehicle, a car, or ride in a plane, that takes a lot of faith, because we don't know anything about aerodynamics and how planes stay in the air. So we're trusting that somebody knows what they're doing, and they're going to do it correctly and going to go from one point to the other without crashing. And so, again, the idea that people don't have faith at all, I challenge. Now, they may define faith only in terms of religious faith or spiritual faith, however. And if they do, then I can acknowledge that, and we each have to consider that for ourselves. So let's see here. Bernhard makes another comment, says that faith is also an attitude towards our lives and the outcome of things. I don't think, I did share that, but Aaron shares another passage of scripture in the same way. Faith by itself, if it's not accompanied by action, is dead. Certainly, faith that we do not act upon is definitely questionable, and became a real issue in biblical times. And let's see, comment from Atif. Do you think, our kind host, everything is predetermined in our life, or our effort can make a difference? If it is predetermined, I can surrender peacefully. I can invest in the process, but leave the outcome to God. Please enlighten us. Good question. Predetermination. That's one that has been discussed and debated for years. And yes, I do believe that God has a plan for each of us. And I believe that he has a plan for good outcomes for us. And frankly, I am always looking to understand what that plan is. Now, that being said, God also has given us the option to make our own choices. He did give us free will. And so we can choose to follow his plan or try to find his plan, or not. And some people choose not to, and I think we all do on some level at different times. So, uh, is there? Can we affect how things go? Yes, I believe we can because of free will. But I also believe that we do well if we're seeking to walk in faith in God, that we are looking to find His will. And in fact, one of the things I talk about as we look to find our potential is finding our design. And we are each designed uniquely. And so I think the key, and this is about balance, Atif, you ask whether we can change things. Yes, we can. And there are moments that God wants us to operate within our design and based on the direction we have for a given time. And we should be, in fact, I suggest to people that we should be available and obedient to God's will, but we don't take responsibility for the outcomes because ultimately the outcome is God's. For example, one of the things that we like to do is we like to take vengeance on people, but God says that's one He doesn't want us to fool with, that He'll take care of that. So I think it's a balance between the two principles, which is very common in the Bible and from my perspective. So the best thing we can do is we rely on God as if we cannot do anything about it, but we act in faith as if it all depends on us. And that's the tension that we hold in our life. I hope that addresses your question, Atif, and gives you some thought, something to think about. And let's see here. Bernhard says faith can determine our own confidence in ourselves, the people around us, and also our religious beliefs. But this faith has to be also within our thoughts, emotions, decisions, and actions on a daily basis. Indeed. By the way, welcome, Richard. I'm sorry I didn't mention you a moment ago. Yeah, faith, real faith, okay, has to be so a part of our lives and who we are that it affects everything we do, say, and so on. And I agree with you. And then Aaron suggests Paul Tillich speaks a lot about it regarding our ultimate concern and whether we put our faith in people or deity has pros and cons. See, again, you have to make sure you have a common understanding of faith. But my faith is totally, and as I grow in my spiritual journey, my faith more and more is totally in God and on His character and His working in my life. And so, even to a point, my faith is not in me. The only faith in me is in how God's created me to do what I need to do for Him. And so I'm not even self-dependent. I am dependent on Him. And I know some people kind of pull back from that. And I don't mean to be offensive, but that's the way I approach faith. Our good deeds come from our faith. Our salvation is not works-based, but good works comes from the good works first done towards us. Thanks, Zaid, for that. Indeed, my salvation has nothing to do with me because I'm not capable of doing good enough to save or redeem myself. My deliverance is through the redemptive work of Christ and what was done. But as Nicole has shared some verses, and as Zaid leads to, though, it's out of that gratitude to God for making the step towards me to restore my relationship to Him. And it's out of that gratitude that I serve Him and I do things that He wants me to do and is good for other people. Because ultimately, God's desire is that we all come to terms with that redemptive gift, and that we can grow in that and grow in our faith in Him and trust Him, because the ultimate goal is to have a relationship. What's really interesting about God is that He has sought us out and wants to establish relationship with us, and it starts by the gift that He has given us. So I hope that answers the question in regards to faith. And if we want to keep talking there, we can. Let's see. Ed Mario shares expert reveals with attitudes are essential. Oh, experts reveals which attitudes are essential for anyone who wants to be a great leader, according to data from Unit 4, a research data group provider consulting, number of publicly traded companies. Let's see. Okay. Yeah, attitude is a factor in what we do and how we walk in faith. Richard had come across a quote, and it says, "The beginning of wisdom is to do away with fear." And yes, Richard, I am definitely with you there. Definitely a passion that part of the value of my faith is, even with everything going on and all happening, that I don't have to live in fear. Doesn't mean that if I come across a rattlesnake that I'm not going to respond in fear until I've figured out the situation, but in terms of pervasive fear and living anxiously and worried about this virus and pandemic and all, it's just not where I'm at, because I believe that God, just as He has had things in control forever, that He still does today, and that His character is to take care and love me. So yes, the beginning of wisdom, for me, does away with fear. All right, let's see. Eunice says, please, I want this question to be answered. How do you integrate wisdom, values, and school curriculum and policies? That is a great question, Eunice. I've been there, and as a teacher, I had to really wrestle through. Welcome, Jane. Glad to have you with us with that one. And what I have found is that because of public school settings and policies and consideration of differing points of view and differing choices in terms of faith and all, that what we have to do is, and what I did was I used the wisdom I have been given to help my students, but quite often I did not reference them as being from one source or another, and just shared it. And also, as a leader in education, a leader as a teacher, I modeled the wisdom and talk about it and offer insights. And so in those cases, in just living by example, the wisdom that we expect and hope for, and to share wise insights in regards to what we're doing. And so it's a challenge. Will it ever become a part of the official policies? Maybe, maybe not. But wisdom is not just about a faith concept. And so there's wisdom about so many things. And so what we do is, in areas especially when we're learning social type concepts in school curriculum and all, is we make sure to incorporate wisdom, looking at the bigger picture, looking beyond the detail there. So again, whether you can get it written into policies, that depends on the situation. But I think that we can exemplify and share those pieces of wisdom as we think appropriate in given situations. So I hope that helps a bit. And if if you're interested in talking about that more in detail, maybe we can talk sometime, see if I can share some specific ideas. So Jane makes the comment of flip the switch on faith. It is such a powerful motivator. Yes. Once you begin to experience and walk in faith, the power of it is truly remarkable. And including, like I said, right now, to help us not live fearfully and not have worry and anxiety. So definitely. So Aaron asked a question: how does the military respect all faiths through chaplains? It's an interesting question, and what I have had to come to terms with, and this is where having confidence in who I am, who God's made me, and being able to operate from that has helped me to realize that approaches to faith vary. And there was a time where I had struggles that some faiths were not legitimate or whatever. What I've had to come to terms with is my faith is where God's got me, and there are other people that have faith in a different place. They're in a different part of their journey. So at the end of the day, I think that it's the chaplains that I know of have learned to find the value in each faith approach and find common ground in those, because most religious constructs have some common ground that all agree on. And so one of the ways that the military can do that is to focus on those commonalities. And then the other is that the chaplains in the military are trained in different types of rituals and rites depending on the faith involved. And that's because of such a mixed audience that's necessary. Next one is Richard asked, do you believe that people live a life here on earth so they can achieve a later paradise? Well, paradise is an interesting term depending on your use. I'll put it this way. I believe that when I die, that's just the beginning for me for eternity. And the eternity is about living the life of a renewed body. And so my purpose here is to grow and learn, and primarily to do things here on earth that bring honor to God. And part of what brings honor to God is loving people as He loves us. And so they're interrelated, but they're one is not necessarily tied to the other. I hope I'm answering your question there, Richard. And maybe, and as I read it again, maybe what you're asking is, does what we do now determine our eternity? Other than receiving God's grace, it determines what our eternity is. The other part, though, is knowing that what we do here honors the one who gave us access to eternity. So hope I'm answering your question. And yeah, Jane, I like Hebrews 11:1. Faith is the substance of things hoped for, conviction of things not yet seen. It's a very powerful verse, no doubt. Atif says, another question: how can we differentiate that what is happening us is not to be random, but a will of God? If it is the will of God, I am contented, but if it is pure randomness, then I am depressed. Understand, Atif, my faith tells me that there is nothing random, that God is involved in everything. And for those of us that are willing to be a part of what he's doing, he causes it all to work out. And if you're a Bible, if you accept the tenets of the Bible, there's a Bible verse that says that he's going to work everything to our good according to his will. And so even the things we don't understand and all, we can trust his character to take care of those things. And so now I don't believe in coincidences or randomness. I believe that God is gracious to us and that he helps us deal with things that come along, even hard things, and he's not surprised by it. Maybe we need to do an episode on talking more about faith, and I could share some situations that I've been through where they seemed random, and but in the end, as I look back, realized that there was nothing random about it, that God was working the whole time. Let's see. I'm just checking along comments. Good morning, Todd and Karen. Glad to have you. Now, unfortunately, today is an abbreviated day because of some work demands on me. And I appreciate everyone being here today. What a great audience, great conversation. And let's see here. I'm also kind of paying attention to aware of what's going around me so I can go as long as possible because I enjoy spending time with everyone. Let's see. Eunice makes a comment. Let's go ahead and get that out there. A community is not just a social unit that has norms and values. That unit but communities usually consist of people from all walks of life who seem to have no relationship at all. The glue that holds community members together is a common interest, such as a hobby, profession, and so on. And children should be taught well, such as character instead of reputation, overall appearance, avoiding appearances of evil, sense of community. Yeah, it's one of the tenets of the faith that I walk in says that at the end of the day, we are all created by God. We're all created with great value, which puts us equal in regards to God's value of us and how we are viewed. And so, yes, community is an interesting thing. And one of the things I've had to come to terms with for myself is that I don't expect people that are not of the same faith that I am to behave in the same way I do in regards to faith. I'm okay with that because I don't need other people to validate me and my faith. And I don't want to sound, I know that maybe comes across almost as arrogant, and that's not the case. It's just that I have the level of confidence in my faith and in my Creator that I don't have to be concerned with it. Let's see here. All right. I want to close out with, again, great conversation, but there is a great verse that Karen has shared. And I think in terms of faith, it's a good one to close out on. It says, "For I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord, plans to prosper you and not to harm you, plans to give you hope and a future." And that is an indication of God's character and love towards us. So, yes, indeed. The faith that I have is real. It's a daily piece. It's not just something that happens one day a week. And it is something that if my faith ever proved to not be real, my life is going to be probably, some would say, wasted, because my life is all about my faith. So thank you again. And I appreciate y'all being here. I'm going to throw out a question as I wrap up. Would y'all like to do this again, another episode like this? If so, let me know. In the meantime, Join me next week as I have a special guest. Special guest is going to be Rashmi Sharma, who is a friend here on LinkedIn, and we have worked together before, and look forward to having her on board and sharing her wisdom journey with us, and look forward to having that time. Thanks everyone for being here so much this week. And I appreciate each and every one of you so very much. And God bless you for the rest of the week, and take care. We'll see you back next Monday. God bless everyone. Bye.